SuperTraining.tv, Super Training Gym, the strongest gym in the West. Here you see Ryan Spencer hitting up some box squats with some bands and a buffalo bar. A buffalo bar is slightly buffaloed, slightly cambered. It can help alleviate some stress to the shoulders and elbows while squatting, and that's why some guys prefer to use it on occasion rather than a straight bar. And here is Silent Mike utilizing the giant cambered bar, and that bar has a huge camber in it and changes the leverages quite a bit. Very difficult to lift with that bar raw. Off of a box, it's a little bit different. You kind of get a little swing into it, and you get the timing down just right. But using that bar raw really keeps you real forward. You can see here we got Matty McMatterson going. He's got the bar way too low, which makes him just drift forward way too much, and he's unable to use his hips. You see how his hips are back? You want your hips more forward. You want your hips more underneath you than that. Here goes Spence with another set. Ryan has been really working hard on fixing up his squat a little bit. He's been focused in on doing some raw meets coming up, and it's not easy to try to do some new things, but we think we've fixed some stuff with him. We're going to work on having him carry the bar just a little bit higher. He carries the bar so low that whenever he does any repetitions, the bar just keeps kind of sliding down his back, and then what ends up happening a lot of times when the bar is too low, or if the bar is too high, is you end up just leaning forward too much. So we're trying to have him get a more upright posture, a little bit like you just saw right there. There's Big Bill going. He's always got a lot of strength in him. Just needs to show up more. Spence has pretty good form. He just he could use a little more oomph, a little more explosiveness. He could use a little bit more speed. Here's Silent Mike going again. Like I said, this bar, you can see the weights are forward. They're kind of moving forward as he's squatting downward. Just puts a lot of stress in the lower back. It's a good bar to use. Here's G-Buff, always has picture perfect form. Looks like he's got two sets of bands on there. I didn't even realize they had that because they have a black band on there also. Those bands are from RogueFitness.com, and we also have them around some tensors on the monolift, which make it even worse. So these are pretty heavy squats on top. It's got to be adding at least 200 pounds or so to the bar. Here's Ricky. Ricky's been with us for a while now, and his form's getting better and better on his squats and his deadlifts as well. Keep in mind that Ryan Spencer only weighs about 160, 170 pounds. G-Buff is only around 200 pounds. This guy right here, he's about 400 pounds. Now he's about 220, I think, somewhere in there. Another good strong squat by Spencington. These guys are trying to get their knees out, trying to keep the upright posture as best they can. David does a great job of getting his knees out. He's got a pretty wide stance there. G-Buff is starting to disrobe, starting to take some clothes off during his sets. David missed some time with us, and he came back, and within about 2 weeks gained most of his strength right back. I don't know how the hell he did that, at least in the squat anyway. Guess we'll see how the other lifts are going. The legendary Mr. Robot Pants, utilizing the safety squat bar. The safety squat bar is a bar that puts you a little bit forward and kind of works the upper and mid back. It's great to have all these tools. I should point out that you don't necessarily need them all to be a strong lifter, but it's just great to have the option to be able to utilize all these bells and whistles. I'm not sure what's going on with Ryan Cove's gay sweater there. Maybe he can, I really don't know what's going on with this. maybe he can explain himself in a future video. See, these guys are also using chains, and the chains are deloading onto the floor. They got about 2 or 3 per side. It's about 80 to 120 pounds per side, and the weights are lighter at the bottom and heavier at the top. And the same thing with the guys that are using the bands. The weights are heavier at the top and lighter at the bottom. It teaches your body to accelerate, much the way Ryan Cove's doing right there, snapping into those lifts. It's the way it should look. You should be trying to put as much into it as you can. And while Chris isn't moving quite as fast, he's got the same intent. Each guy is trying to move quickly, and then also they're trying to work in a fashion that they're not taking a lot of rest from one guy to the next. They're trying to go one guy after another with little rest. And Robot's squatting down to a pretty low box there too, and that's that can be a great advantage in terms of building up the hips, building up the hamstrings. The lower you squat, the more it's going to build you up. It's just that it's a pain in the ass to do it. Again, on a dynamic day, you're not really trying to use a lot of weight, but you're trying to move the weights around quickly. You're trying to put as much force into it as you can. It's a day where you're working on force production and form perfection. And Mr. Robot Pants is somebody who's really been working on his squat a lot, so much to the point that he'll squat, and then after he's done squatting, he'll squat some more. And then when he's done with that second squat, then he'll do a third squat, and then he'll squat again. And then he goes home and he squats on his couch, he squats on his toilet, and he gets in his car and he does some squats. He's squatting all over the place, let's just put it that way. But he's really been working on trying to hone in his technique so that it transfers over. He's been working on his raw work as well as his geared work. He's just trying to get the biggest bang for his buck, I guess you'd say. Ryan Cove always has great form. He's got great flexibility through his hips. He's able just to chuck those knees way out. So he's at an advantage a lot of times when he's doing a squat or a pull because he can get his body into a position that a lot of us can't. Robot is good at forcing his knees out as well, but due to maybe the fact that this box is a little bit lower, his lower back was rounding over a little bit, and then it was kind of setting everything else off on that last set. Let's see what happens here. A little bit better here, it looks like. But just, you start to get a little bit of a breakdown with those heavier weights. And that's what you want, though. You want to utilize some heavier weights. You don't want to utilize just these skimpy little weights and try to move 1,000 miles an hour. It will not make you stronger. You need to challenge yourself and get a little bit heavier weights on your back from time to time where there's almost a slight breakdown in form. And that is it from supertraining.tv.